Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Today we are going to discuss another objection which is leveled against Ustaz Javed Ahmad Ghamidi. Ustaz Ghamidi has opined that the Hurs of paradise or the maidens of paradise will be the women that are found in this world, and they will not be some new species as is generally understood. In this regard, he has presented Quranic verses which actually tell us that as far as the maidens of paradise are concerned, the way they are expressed in the Quran, they are in the form of attributes. For example, the word hur itself is an attribute which qualifies a noun. The word hur is the plural of haura, and it means someone who is fair complexioned, of course, referring to women. And the word ain is also mentioned at times adjacent to with the word hur, and the word ain is the plural of aina and means large-eyed. So again, this is an attribute. So he has presented in his thesis regarding women that wherever the Quran mentions these maidens of paradise, they are mentioned as attributes of women. And as far as the narratives are concerned, we'll find that there are so many narratives which people quote, but only 3 of them stand the test of historical and hadith criticism. And we shall also look at those 3 narratives, and they qualify as either Sahih or Hasan. But there are no other narrative, none of the other narratives which can be regarded as Sahih or Hasan. So among so many hundreds of narratives which people quote regarding women of paradise, only these 3 are worthy of attention. Let us now take a look at the verses which Ustaz Ghamidi has cited, and we will look at the instances in which these verses occur in the Quran in sequence, and we will see that on each occasion, the way these maidens of paradise are mentioned, they are mentioned in the form of attributes of women. Of course, now the question is that either these women are created again in paradise with these attributes, or they are the same women that are found here and they will have these attributes. So we will now take a look at these verses one by one. So the first of these instances is in Surah Safat, and these are verses 48 and 49. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٌ كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْضٌ مَكْنُونٌ. For them shall be large-eyed women with lowered gazes, as if they are sheltered eggs of an ostrich. The second is in Surah Swad, and this is verse 52. وَعِنْدَهُنَّ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ أَتْرَابٌ. They shall be women with lowered gazes of the same age with them. The third one is in Surah Dukhan, and this is verse 54. وَزَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عِينٍ. And we shall wed them to large-eyed, fair-complexioned women. The fourth is in Surah Tur, verse 20, very similar verse than the previous one. وَزَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عِينٍ. And we shall wed them to large-eyed, fair-complexioned women. The fifth one is in Surah Rahman. So these are verses 56 to 58. فِيهِنَّ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ لَمْ يَطْمِسْهُنَّ إِنسٌ قَبْلَهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ كَأَنَّهُنَّ الْيَاقُوتُ وَالْمَرْجَانُ. In them will be maidens having lowered gazes, whom neither man nor jinn would have touched before. Then which of your Lord's majesty will you deny, so beautiful as if they are like rubies and corals? The sixth instance is also in Surah Rahman, and the verses are 70 to 74. فِيهِنَّ خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ حُورٌ مَقْصُورَاتٌ فِي الْخِيَامِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ لَمْ يَطْمِسْهُنَّ إِنسٌ قَبْلَهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ. In them there will be wives noble and gorgeous. Then which of your Lord's majesties will you deny? Fair complexioned women residing in tents. Then which of your Lord's majesties will you deny? Neither man nor jinn would have touched them before. The seventh instance is in Surah Waqia. وَحُورٌ عِينٌ كَأَمْثَالِ اللُّؤْلُؤِ الْمَكْنُونِ. This is verse 22. And for them will be large-eyed, fair-complexioned women like hidden pearls. The eighth instance is also in Surah Waqia, and the words are إِنَّا أَنشَأْنَاهُنَّ إِنشَاءً فَجَعَلْنَاهُنَّ أَبْكَارًا. We would have raised them in a unique manner and would have made them virgins, enchanting and of the same age. The ninth instance is in Surah Naba, verses 31 to 33. إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ مَفَازًا حَدَائِقَ وَأَعْنَابًا وَكَوَاعِبَ أَتْرَابًا. For the God-fearing, however, there is great success on that day, gardens to dwell in, grapes to feast on, blooming maidens of equal ages. Viewers, now let us come to the Hadith literature as we just referred to. These are Hadiths, as I said earlier on, they are just 3 in number which qualify to be Sahih or Hasan. So the first two, which I'm just going to narrate before you, these are Sahih, and the last of these is Hasan. So with this background in mind, let us now read the texts of all these 3 ahadiths. The first of these narratives in the Al-Jami al-Sahih of Imam Bukhari, and the words are, Abu Huraira reports from God's messenger, the first group that will enter paradise will have faces that shine like the full moon. After that, those people will enter it who will be shining like the brightest stars of heaven. They will neither spit nor will any mucus come out of their nose. They will also not have the need to urinate or defecate. Their utensils would be made of gold, and their combs too would be made of gold and silver. In their hearts, a very pure and scented type of wood will burn. Their sweat will be like musk. Each of them will have 2 wives from among large-eyed fair women. The marrow of their shins, because of their beauty, will look above the flesh as if there is red wine in a white cup. There will be no virgin in paradise. They will have no difference of opinion among themselves, nor any malice or enmity. They will be united as one. Morning and evening, they will glorify and exalt God there. Now let us come to the second narrative, and this is recorded also in the Al-Jami al-Sahih of Imam Bukhari. The words are, Anas ibn Malik reports from God's messenger, a morning or evening's journey for the cause of God to wage jihad is better than the world and everything it has. In paradise, a space whose expanse is as large as one bow for a person from among you to place his feet is better than the world and everything it has. If any woman of paradise peeps at the world, it will light up everything from the sky to the earth. Her shawl is better than this world and everything it has. The third narrative is recorded in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and it reads, Muaz ibn Jabal narrates from God's messenger, whenever a wife of this world torments her husband, his wife from among the large-eyed, fair-complexioned women of paradise says, May God kill you, because he is with you for a few days, and soon he will leave you and come to us. Viewers, will now take a look at how our previous Mufassirun, or the exegetes of the Quran, have interpreted these verses, whether they think that these women of paradise are a separate, a new species which God is going to create, or whether they believe that they are the same women who are found here, but they will be given these attributes. We will take a look at the previous exegetes, the classical ones, and also some of the contemporary ones, one by one. And we will mostly discuss the verse 35 of Surah Waqi'ah, because it is this verse in which our Mufassirun or our exegetes have expressed these opinions. So this verse, as you all know, is Inna ansha'nahunna insha'a, verse 35. So now let us look at Tabari, who is the foremost Mufassir of the Quran in this regard. So he cites a narrative of Salama and says, old women of this world with disheveled hair and inflicted eyes who would be made virgins. This is Tabari's view. Zamakhshri says that either new women will be created or the ones in this world will be made and recreated. Let us now go to Razi. So Imam Razi, under verses 54 and 55 of Surah Dukhan, he says that people have differed as regard the Hurs are concerned, and he says that Hassan Basri says that old women who have lost their teeth, God will make them into a new form there, while Abu Huraira says that they will not be from among the women of this world. So you see, you can already find how our previous Mufassirun have differed on the basis of various narratives that have come to them. Next, we will also see that Imam Razi has actually given preference amongst these opinions. He says that this word or this verse of Surah Waqi'ah, which says, Inna ansha'nahunna insha'a faja'alnahunna abkara. He says that there are 2 possibilities. Either a Hur will be created again, or she'll be from the progeny of Adam in this world, which is of course what the stated stance in interpretation is. But he says the word abkara, which is used right in the next verse, shows that the meaning is the second. For had it been the first, the word would have become redundant. So he has preferred the meaning that they will be women of this world. Otherwise, what would be the requisite to say, فَجَعَلْنَاهُنَّ أَبْكَارًا? Because if it is said that they would be made virgins, this would of course mean that they are women of this world. Otherwise, in the presence of this world, this would not have been required to be said. We now come to the fourth Mufassir of the Quran, Hafiz ibn Kasir, and he says that all women of this world with inflicted eyes will be made into virgins. So viewers, you can clearly see that in our classical tradition of exegesis, we find these four very outstanding scholars expressing opinion regarding whether they will be women of this world or women of the hereafter only. As you can see, most of these Mufassirun, they prefer that this is basically, it is this world that is being talked about, and women of this world would be created and they would be made as the maidens of paradise. Now let us look at some of the contemporary tafasir or the contemporary exegetes. So one of them is Ibn Ashur. If you look at Ibn Ashur, he expresses both opinions. Next we come to Mufti Shafi, Ma'arif al-Quran, is his magnum opus. He also expresses both opinion. Next we come to Ustaz Abul Ala Maududi, and he expresses the same opinion as Hassan Basri, and he says that it would be women of this world who would be made the Hurs or maidens of paradise. And he expresses this very clearly in a footnote while explaining verses 48 and 49 of Surah Safat. And he says that they may well be those girls who died in this world before reaching adolescence and whose parents were not eligible to paradise. This inference can be drawn on the basis of analogy from the verse in Surah Tur, which says that such boys will serve the people of paradise who will always remain boys. Similarly, such girls will be made hurs and would always remain in young age. So he expresses something very similar in Surah Rahman also. And there also he says that this world's women would be the ones who would be created. So he makes this distinction that either they will be young women or young girls who could not reach adolescence and they would be there in the form of hurs, or women of this world, they would be there. And very similarly, he expresses also the same opinion in Surah Waqi'ah. So we can clearly see that as far as our tafsir tradition is concerned, Ustaz Ghamidi is not unique in expressing this fact that basically it is the women of this world. And of course, he has said this with a note of caution also. He says that this is what he is inclined to believe. There is no absolute nas, as they say, absolute verse of the Quran which says this, but the Qarain, as he would say, or concomitant indications are in favor of this, that as far as these maidens are concerned, they will be women of this world and they would be recreated in a way that will form the maidens of paradise, and it's not that they will be some new species. He has also expressed his opinion that some of the very commonly expressed narratives of the Prophet, they have absolutely no grounds and they are often quoted. For example, a certain narrative, it is said that every person will get 1,000 maidens in paradise. This is a fabricated narrative, and he has said that, well, this is something which does not stand to the test of Hadith criticism. Similarly, there is a narrative which says that these hurs, or these large-eyed, fair-complexioned women, would be made from saffron. And this narrative too is absolutely weak and unauthentic. And finally, there is also a narrative which is at times cited that these large-eyed, fair-complexioned women will be made from the nur of his throne, or the light of his throne, and this also is a fabricated narrative. So besides the fact that these narratives which people often quote in favor of these maidens, that they don't stand to the test of Hadith criticism, the only ones which do are the ones which I just cited earlier on. And of course, amongst those two, the last one quoted from the Musnad of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal is also a Hasan narrative, which means that it does not even qualify to be a Sahih. So to be more precise, there are just two narratives, just two, which I cited earlier on from Ustaz Ghamidi's note in his own book, in which he has said that these two narratives from Al-Jami' al-Sahih of Imam Bukhari are the only ones that can be regarded to be authentic. So let us now sum up Ustaz Ghamidi's view. So we can clearly see that his view, which of course about which he very humbly says that he does not say that he is absolutely sure of his view, but he is much more inclined to believe in it, is that basically women of this world will be recreated in the next in a new form, and they would be virgins, and they will have all these attributes which we just cited in the Quran. And we can have also seen from the tafsir tradition that in our past and in our contemporary tafsir tradition, there are many mufassirun who have this opinion, and there are even narratives which support this.